はじめまして。てるみです。
はじめまして、トマスです。どうぞよろしく。
はい、よろしくお願いします。ミートアップ初めてですか？
アメリカでは初めてです。つるみさんは、
そうなんですね。私、2回目です。
そうですね。
出身はどこですか？
アメリカ、ミズーリ州出身です。知ってますか？
ミズーリ州知ってますよ。何が有名
うん
ですか？
あーゲートウェイアーチが有名です。
そうなんですか。どこにあるんですか？
ミシシッピ川のそばにあります。
そうなんですね。
つるみさんは、
うん。
出身はどこですか？
山梨県出身です。うん。
何が有名ですか？
山梨は、富士山が有名です。
うん。富士山。
うん。
知ってます。
知ってますか？う
はい。はい。
ん。
はい。
いいですね。トーマスさんはお仕事何ですか？
あアメリカ海軍として働いています。
うーん。
鶴見さんは、
日本語教えてます。日本語の先生です。
いいですね。
トーマスさん、そういえば、日本語上手ですね。
ありがとうございます。
うん。日本に住んでたんですか？
はい。日本に4年住んでいました。はじめは岩国に2年住んでいました。
うー
その
ん。
後、でもその後、アメリカに3年帰りました。で、その後、横須賀に1年半住んでいました。
そうなんですね。いいですね。どのぐらい日本語勉強してるんですか？
20年ぐらい勉強してます。
う
で
ーん。
も、やったりやめたりしてます。
日本で何が好きでしたか？
あー神社と大寺巡りが好きです。また、日本に住みたいです。
いいですね。う
うん
ん。
鶴見さんは、アメリカ何が好きですか？
うん、アメリカのエンターテインメントと、音楽大好き
うん
です。ディズニーも好きだし、マーベルも好きだ
あ
し、バックストリートボーイズ
うん、
とか好
うん。
きでしたよ。うん、
はい。
うん、
あ私も好きです。
うん、アイロンマンが大好きです。
鶴見さん、
うん。
WhatsApp は持っていますか？
持ってますよ。
もしよければ交換しませんか？
いいですよ。もちろん。どうぞ。
はい、ありがとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。
Feel like learning Japanese is too damn hard for you? Stop slaving away at grammar, words, and spelling. Now there's a better way to learn how to speak Japanese like a normal guy. Welcome to Terumi's podcast. Let's learn Japanese in just 2 months with Terumi's learning method.
So, hi, Thomas. こんにちは。
Hello. こんにちは。
Amazing. So, welcome to my YouTube channel. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good.
Amazing. So, first of all, おめでとうございます。Congratulations on your completion of our master course level 1. And also, we did actually amazing conversation in Japanese.
Mm.
And how do you feel like when I met you, you really couldn't speak anything in front of me. So, how do you
Yes,
feel?
I was very rusty. I've been on and off with Japanese for quite some time, so it was nice to kind of get back and actually have conversations, natural conversations with a native speaker. So that was really good over the time that I spent in the course.
Mm. Amazing, amazing. Yeah, so let me, know about yourself. Like, why you start liking Japanese culture, or how long have you been studying, and then, what do you do currently?
When I was younger, I was into, some of the anime and manga a little bit, and it was very interesting. So I took a course in college, but really didn't have time for in-depth studies. But it still stuck with me. I really still like the language and the culture and everything. And I'm in the Navy now, so just having an opportunity to potentially go to Japan, I studied a little bit after. It was a few years after. Didn't really pick it up too well because it was all like, just either books or audio tapes, no real
Mm,
conversations. Later on, I actually got a chance to be stationed in Japan. So while I was there, I definitely wanted to do it. So I picked up some more tapes and everything. And it was a little bit better, a few conversations with a few native speakers. But um, I went back to America, then coming back to Japan again, I was very rusty. And again, those studies weren't that in depth. So I really want to have like actual conversations just to kind of finesse it a little bit to just more actual Japanese conversations and style and just more natural language learning. So yeah, it was really good to kind of go through that as an
mm.
experience. Definitely recommend this type of lesson earlier on for anyone.
Thank you so much, Thomas-san. So, like you said, it's when you're a child already you like Japanese anime culture. So, when did you know about Japanese entertainment, and which anime did you see for the first time?
Oh, I think like most kids, probably Dragon Ball Z and
Uh-huh.
Akira, and then a little bit later on, like Cowboy Bebop. Uh,
Mm.
There is a great teacher Onizuka and a few other anime, Gundam,
Wow.
and yeah. I think my favorite though overall is Neon Genesis Evangelion. So
Mm.
it was quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a really interesting one. One of my it's between Neon Genesis and there's also like other movies by Akira Kurosawa.
Mm.
Like Samurai 7 and some of those other samurai movies. Like Kagemusha is actually a really good kind of
Mm.
movie, but they actually turned Samurai 7 into an anime.
Mm.
I think that was like one of the coolest kind of experiences, really, is just kind of like seeing that because it's not just like old school like samurai, like they
Mm.
mix with like, some steampunk, and so it's like futuristic with some other elements
Mm.
of Samurai 7. So it's very, very cool. And so seeing that mix of like old and new, like and the
Mm.
anime, all the different types of anime, and just like having the experience here a little bit in Japan, as well as potentially having that experience when I was younger,
Mm.
was always I guess a dream of mine in a way.
Mm. Amazing. A lot of people actually like Japanese entertainment, like, like all the samurai movie to modern Japanese anime. Enjoy the entertainment versus like actually learn the Japanese language is quite a
Mhm.
big difference. Like a lot of people actually enjoy entertainment, but if you go back to your country states, I don't think a lot of people really can speak Japanese. So you really actually
Yeah.
take this a serious step, like you really can understand a little bit more, and then you can really experience speaking Japanese. So what was actually kind of trigger you that you wanted to learn Japanese language itself?
Um, I guess really just that interest, yeah. And there was a small opportunity while I was in school, so that was the first step. Again, it was like 20 some odd years ago as a sophomore
Mm,
in college. Just having that um, opportunity was really good. So I
mm,
took a chance, but it just didn't pan out as far as like, balancing with other studies that I had. Um, and then after I joined the Navy, like there was a small opportunity to actually go to Japan. So I went to kind of prepare for that and just learn more, kind of immerse myself more. It didn't quite happen, but I still kind of kept up a little bit of hope. So I kind of kept the lessons going for a while, even though like more of my career took over. So I let
mm,
the studies eventually drop off up until the point where I was actually able to get stationed in Japan. Then I got more serious with more books and more more audio tapes and stuff like that.
Mm.
One of the other interesting aspects was that, like, actually after getting here and having just a little bit of that experience in my head, they're not quite the same. So it's very different hearing it and repeating it after a tape than going to a store and somebody asking, hey, what are you looking for? And they were saying it in Japanese, and trying
Mm.
to hear that and being able to communicate was a challenge. So yeah, wanting to really dig more in depth so that I was able to just kind of get around Japan a little bit more naturally and easier.
Amazing. And then, what do you think? You already enjoy entertainment when you're in the States, and actually you moved to Japan. And what was actually a huge impact? Like, your imagination was actually different, actual life in Japan, or exactly same like anime? Like, what was actually your first impression when you arrived in Japan?
Oh, it was a little surreal. It was pretty close, but like I was in Iwakuni, so it's a little bit more country. It's not like,
Mm,
the city life that you might see in a lot of different Japanese entertainment, whether it's movies or um, anime. So um, like there was just like that reality. There's still like the kind of Japanese countryside, which I guess you might still see in some other anime like Suzume or something like that.
mm,
Um, it was kind of close.
mm,
Like this sounds silly, but for example, like if you're driving on the interstate or the freeway, like the toll roads, it almost at nighttime it almost feels like you're in Mario Kart. So like,
mm,
Japanese video games in a way are very similar. They have that ambiance or
mm-hmm.
funky. Uh,
Amazing. And then, are you currently living in Japan, or you live in the States right now?
um, why I leave Saturday. So as of
Okay.
so I guess you could say I live in the States would be the official answer.
I see. And so how long have you been living in Japan? I mean, lived in Japan in total.
4 years total.
Mm.
2.5 years I was in Iwakuni, and then went to the States. I was there for 3 years, and I came back for about a year and a half.
Mm, amazing. And so, a lot of people, come from the States as Navy or even international company employees. There are a lot of Americans living in Japan, but I think it's a majority is they just using using Google Translate and not really
Mhm.
learning Japanese. And versus like you, very rare that it's really take seriously step forward to really learn Japanese. So this 4 years by really understanding, start speaking Japanese versus not only using Google Translate, what was actually the experience for you?
Oh, it's been really good. A couple of times where, instead of fumbling with my phone, I try to pull something out just to explain something simple. It's
Mm,
been really nice just to talk to either a cashier about, do you need a bag or something like that. For example, if I go and I have something that actually I changed my mind and I don't want,
mm,
um, you know, I would hand it to the associate, and it's awkward at first because they don't know what I'm trying to say or trying to do.
mm,
And I can just easily say, hoshika arimasen, so
mm,
they know that I don't want it, so they can take it back.
mm-hmm. So like every small thing, small conversation you could do, get around by yourself rather than using translation app. Mm.
Yeah, it just feels more natural, like you're living there instead of just visiting.
Yeah, definitely. In order to achieve that, even this simple level, a lot of people use Google Translate and also, like a lot of language apps like Duolingo, like these apps, and also some people buying textbook, like you did in the college course. Still, like a lot of people struggle to speak Japanese, even the simple level.
Mhm.
So before visiting Japan Language Factory, what kind of things did you try already?
Well, there was the semester in school, so textbooks, and then after school, I used Rosetta Stone for
Mm,
a little while, maybe a couple of years. And then that kind of dropped off right before I came out again. I tried
mm,
Pimsleur. So those are all good. But, like once you get here, you realize that, speaking is like naturally and natively, it's very, very different. So,
mm,
and there's even, I didn't quite realize, but, I wasn't prepared for the different, I guess,
mm.
dialects, like Kansai Bay or something like that, yeah, those things don't quite prepare you textbooks and audiobooks.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Before even, visiting Japan, you can learn with so many resources like a Rosetta Stone, Peninsula, and textbook. But you felt like it was not really practical for real life in Japan. So what do you think? What was difficult part for you to be fluent with those resources that you used before? Like, mm,
I would say just making sure that my pronunciation is correct. So certain things that I might feel like I'm saying accurately, getting real
mm,
live feedback and making sure that, from a native speaker that it does make sense.
mm.
That would be like one of the key pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. Like when the language apps or something is teaching you, but it's you're not sure even if you're pronouncing naturally or
Mm,
correctly or saying something like it makes sense or not, right? To the native people.
mm,
Mm.
yes. And there's also the added element, a little bit extra motivation when it almost feels like somebody's like depending on you to show up and be prepared. So
Mm.
just having the extra accountability of you know um, showing up ready and extra motivation to study.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So yeah, you visit Japan Language Factory, and then the whole master course you took the session with our coach Shano. So how was that experience overall? Like right now, with us, it's always like a communication basic. It's a base. We don't really focus on hiragana, katakana, kanji writing. We don't do too many flashcard. We don't do too much focus on grammar learning. It's more about your pronunciation. It's more about actually how to communicate with native people. It's a quite different approach. So like compared to the very common like a language learning, like a flashcard, grammar, spelling, basics, what was it, your experience with us?
The experience is really positive, both with Shono and Shinobu, like just having the ability to use like different instructors just for different
Mm,
styles and different feedback was all really good. So um, the way that all the lessons are plotted out and being able to be very specific with how I want to communicate and ensuring that it's natural, and then just having that as a kind of prepared lesson plan for the next
mm,
meeting was all really really helpful. And so, yeah, it's not exactly flashcards, but obviously just still having a set plan to for something to study and look at and focus on and actually use to prepare. And not even that, for a few lessons, kind of plotted out, what was my plan during that week. Well, I might go to a ramen restaurant. Well, what do you do at a ramen restaurant? Well, I order these things, and this is how I want to communicate. And so, the instructors will kind of plot that out, and so you can actually practice your daily interactions that way with natural speaking.
mm-hmm. Amazing. Yeah, so you already mentioned in the even the Japanese conversation part that you have been, like in Japanese culture over 20 years, like studying Japanese 20 years. And I can see a lot of people say that like they are already live in Japan for many years, or even they really like Japanese culture many years. But it's being able to speak something confidently like you did in front of a camera. It's not easy path. So what do you think? Like, what kind of advice you can do? And then what do you think? Why they are still not confident after so many years?
Um, well, I guess the thing with me, like I tried to go really big early and learn a whole bunch of stuff, like the hiragana, katakana, as well as, all the different types of verbs. So learning Japanese the way that you would learn English in high school. So all like the different aspects and nuances of sentence structure and all that stuff, breaking it down into more advanced concepts. But you don't throw a 2-year-old into high school. You just talk to a 2-year-old and they eventually pick up language, and then eventually they get more advanced with understanding different verb conjugations and adverbs, and understanding the different nuances of between adjectives and adverbs and so forth. So it, there's that, right? There's just, talking and speaking, and then there's understanding depth and nuance and advanced aspects of language. So maybe just taking it a step down and just learning the how the language interacts with from human to human instead of, in the book.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, me also, I liked very much American entertainment, music. I really wanted to speak English naturally, but what I experienced with the textbook study is it's very much like a book phrases, like "How are you? I am fine, thank you." And Ben play tennis, or like Mary likes tennis. We actually, we as a native Japanese, we did so many exercises, but it's really just to be able to speak naturally. Like even, hey, what's up? What's up was not in the textbook in the Japanese education. So it was very difficult to just simply speak something naturally. So I think that those actual experience is not only Japanese, like even learning English to learning Spanish to so many actually languages that have the same problem, like being able to speak like a native, like a native person, like normal guy naturally, versus what you do with so many textbook and spelling exercises doesn't really towards to the natural communication skills. So yeah, that's why in Japan Language Factory, we want to provide like as much as possible something like a more natural way to communicate, not just obsessively flashcard or grammar learning. So yeah, you actually did amazing conversation with me. Yeah. So what do you
Well,
think that your
thank you.
future plan? So after 20 years and you actually really now it's feeling like something like you can speak more confidently, even you're showing up here in front of a camera is not easy things. If you go back to the States, I don't think a lot of people can do that, speak Japanese in front of a camera. So like, I don't want you to forget, you go back to the States, and then I don't want you to lose this skill. So what is going to be your future plan? And what would you like to do?
I'll definitely like to continue with, Japan Language Factory as far as, the resources that still come with it. So the group sessions, the recordings of the group sessions,
Mm,
the other files and audio files and recordings that I have. So there's still a lot that comes with it, even after finishing. Uh, Without living in Japan and kind of having that extra motivation, um, like I know I'm going to be busy with work and other stuff when I get
mm-hmm.
back. So yeah, it's somewhere in between. I may not do the full, level 2, level 3 and continue that way, but I'll still continue with Japan Language Factory and some other aspects on like group sessions, recordings, and old files that I have that are really useful.
Amazing. Yeah. So you can just keep it up, and then now our US community is growing. So I can see even the people doesn't live in Japan, don't never even visited Japan. They're already making amazing progress. So in the end of the day, if
Mhm.
you use internet correctly, you can still keep it up, like making friends online, meet up even online. You can actually search so many things online. So whenever you come back to Japan, you still like you already prepared a lot of things in the States.
Yeah. And to me, I'd also say this that it, it it wouldn't take 20 years to get to where I got to, right? Like you could probably just not have any Japanese whatsoever and get to what I did in just this short time because again, my studies were off and on, so I wasn't doing a lot. So I think yeah, anybody could really benefit. If
Mm,
they've never been touched foot in Japan or picked up a Japanese book or audio book,
mm,
this would be very, very useful. Probably even better. I think as far as like natural language learning,
mm,
I think about your first language when you're 2, 3 years old, and so you kind of have to pick up your second language and pretend to
mm,
be a 2 or 3 year old again and just have
mm,
those natural conversations. But that's where it's really uncomfortable because nobody wants to be like a 2 year old in a restaurant asking for a
mm,
glass of water because it feels awkward when you're 25, 35, 45, or
mm,
however old because it's just not your natural language. But eventually you'll get there and just kind of having more um what's the word I'm looking for? Stability, but just having more consistency over time definitely helps.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, I think it's a huge difference is you could kind of took serious action to make progress faster. Because some people
Mm,
just can't take a serious action, still like keep going with the language
mm,
apps or something. Taking like
mm.
that like kind of master course is like you feel more responsibility, and actual coach is waiting for you, so it's like you can progress as much serious than you just keep going alone, right? What do you think?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, just having that coach for extra accountability and motivation helps.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Right. So thank you so much, Thomas-san. And the
Yeah.
last actually request is yes, like anybody in the States, because 2024 Japanese culture is still more even famous and popular, and a lot of people actually want to move to Japan. It's the States is nice, but it's they are looking for something even more quality life in Japan. Is much more safe, even much more cheaper than the States.
Mm.
And a lot of people want to move to Japan. So for those people who haven't visited Japan, but also dreaming to move to Japan, what kind of actually advice you can give?
Stay motivated, stay consistent. Japanese are very nice and very accommodating, and so they'll work with you even if you start messing up some of the language, and they're very excited to know that people are willing to learn and are willing to put in the effort. So yeah, just stay motivated.
Amazing. Right. Thank you so much, Thomas-san.
Thank you.
Are you expat live in Japan? You started living in Japan, you're super excited to communicate with locals. You can enjoy traveling, meeting people. And now you start using this textbook and you feel like, wow, that's so many. Elementary school textbook, another elementary school textbook, and how many hours should you study? Let's think one more time. In order to communicate like a normal guy, you can do everything in the basic everyday life. Should you finish all those textbooks? Otherwise, you won't understand what they're talking. You cannot express yourself, anything. First of all, there are always two ways to learn languages. One is documentational language, the other one is conversational language. It's like, once upon a time, grandmother and grandfather are living somewhere. Or, hey, what's up? How's it going? Which is conversational. What is the most effective way to learn how to speak Japanese? Textbooks can't talk to you, so you cannot improve your listening skill and pronunciation, how to communicate. So why Japanese children can speak Japanese so quickly? Because they are learning conversational Japanese. The good news is, in Japan Language Factory, we have a specific learning structure to improve your conversational Japanese. So you can join the conversation, you can understand what they're talking, you can respond quickly, and express what you are thinking. If you want to be able to speak Japanese as soon as possible, join our free consultation to figure out what is the fastest way to start speaking Japanese.